passions, tender other emotions.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:32. It is August 25th. Hope everyone's feeling well. Last week of August, just like that. Life goes by pretty fast, huh, my doggies? Anyway, hope everyone's feeling good. I was on vacation last week. I was at Montauk with the wife. Had a good time. A little trading back and forth. But everyone's like, Red Dog, where are you? Are you okay? I'm like, I told you guys I'm going away for 4 days. I know I never really go away. And you have to go away every now and then. And by the way, my name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com, founder of Red Dog Mindset. This is the 630 Club. I've been doing this since 2020. Some people are like, Red Dog, what are you talking about? You know, the 28-520 and the 630 Club, and where's it going? All I'm saying is that I've been doing this since 2020. The format for me on Twitter, and a lot of things are going to change. If you don't want to change, if you felt like you missed me last week, you missed getting ideas, you missed getting the key to the day, you missed all these things, I would subscribe above. It's not a big deal. It's $10 a month. You'll guarantee me and lock me in for life. But anyway, if not, no big deal. You know, I'm sure you've been getting value in this and that. And anyway, with that being said, you know, today's going to be an interesting day. A lot of people are pinging me over the weekend. Red Dog, did you see the move in Bitcoin? You see the movie in Ethereum. What does that mean for the markets? I'm like, well, you know, Bitcoin and crypto and Ethereum have been different things for the market at different times. Ethereum in the last month has been a leading indicator, you know, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Bitcoin has actually lagged, but, you know, let's not get to that this second. As of right now, you know, you take a look here at the SPYs, you know, you see the move that we've had. We had, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions into Powell. It was a great setup. I put on I was a little risk down because it felt faulty. We put on the 35 calls at $3. You know, I tweeted to Redler All Access and the Alpha team saw, you know, that was a good way to put a risk on. They went from 3 to 10, 11 on Friday. So a lot of people made a lot of money. Some guys put on positions as the day evolved. And now we try and figure out if, if we could get some commitment to that move. So at this point, you know, it's very specific. China is getting follow through. So if you're in, you know, Babo, or you're in Baidu, you're in Neo, you're in Tiger, some of those names, you're getting some follow through. If you're in crypto, we're gonna have to figure out what to do there. And then there are some names also. About time, right, Jeff? So we'll see. XLE has been really good. Also, there's been like a rotational trade. It's not like they're selling everything for something else, but it's, you know, you have to have almost like a blend of things. So this way, when one thing's working, you're involved. When another thing's resting, you're not upset, etc. So anyway, that's the way it's been. The summer has had a lot of really good moves also. But again, not every stock is created equal. They rarely are. So I would think for today, the SPY should hold 642.50-ish. That would be good as of right now. It's only down $1.79 after being up 10. So it's not even down a third of what it was. It's not a big deal. So we'll see. Yes, XLE, you know, we were talking about playing catch up. If you're in it, congratulations. It's still, you know, you've had to buy it at the lower end of the range. You know, lately it's failed into this area, but this time might be a little bit different. KWeb, I gave you guys before going on vacation. A lot of you guys were buying a lot of different sets of options for China. You know, China was acting well. China's above the 8-21 day. Look at this move right here is when it ignited. And now that's some nice follow through. So yes, there's been some money to be made in China. For those of you who get my report for the past 2 years, I've been saying buy monthly FXI. It should outperform. Money could rotate there after being a laggard for like 5 to 10 years. But anyway, you know, that's a nice move. So congratulations there. Anyway, with that being said, also the individually, some people like Red Dog, you know, you've been all over Google. What do you think there? I'm like, well, Google was the first Mag 7 name to make a new all-time high. It'd be nice if it holds and goes and continues. I've been buying dips. I'm long Google. You know, it's been above the 21-day this entire time. Congratulations if you've been in Google. You know, we'll see if it continues today. You know, some guys like Red Dog, you know, you're the best when Tesla's in action and when Tesla's going, when Tesla's on the move. I'm like, Tesla's great when it's great, and when it's bad, it's horrible because people keep going back to it. And I do think that this move on Friday was a nice one. I am in Tesla. Tesla's probably down a little bit this morning. What's Tesla? Tesla's down like $1.90. Some people, you know, listen, if Tesla was up $3 and you took it home, chances are you'd be trimming some. So sometimes when it's down a little bit, you make more because you could buy a dip and then it goes green. And then if it were to take out Friday's high of 340.25, that could be a nice little area to get a push. So to me, oh, this is 3. I said 2 this morning. in the 25.20, I was a little dyslexic. But anyway, so this to me is a really good setup. I'm hoping that it's not like predatory where it opens down 2 and goes down 8 today. That won't be fun. But if it opens down 2 and plays around and then you get a signal, it could go right to green. And I'm going to be focused on this. So hopefully, it has a nice move. So this looks pretty good. As far as the other Mag 7 names, they're all kind of wishy-washy. There was some news out on Apple this morning that they're doing a refresh on all of their iPhones. I actually went to get a new iPhone in this weekend, and they didn't have any iPhones. They had none. So they're waiting for, I guess, the iPhone 17 and maybe a foldable one. So look at it today. Apple's going to have to get back above this little spot here in order to get going. If you remember, we caught a really nice move in Apple twice. Caught this move in Apple right here, and then look at that one. Anyway, it's hanging in here. Watch the action. It's probably a developing story, so make sure to watch out for that. It'd be nice. Apple, is at the 8 day above the 21 day, showing a little relative strength. So we'll see. Kenneth Rosenberg, David Prince, Inner Circle is talking about Nail. All right, I like David Prince, my guy. Nail, let's see, what does that look like? 3-time home builders. You like the juice. Anyway, had a nice move. Coming out above the moving averages. I guess if you want the home builders and you want some juice, nail this one. Anyway, what's Nail doing this morning? Let's see. NAIL is down 11 cents. All right, I think you have select home builders. You have select, energy names. Somebody said for me to look at Oxy. That's a nice candle in Oxy. Still lagging. If you think you want some individual stock, exposure. I played this so many different times, and it's been like the boy who cried wolf. But at this point, maybe this time is different. So with that being said, Oxy had a nice candle, so maybe you want to join Buffett. That looks pretty good. What's Oxy doing this morning? Oxy it's flattish. So, again, if you feel like you missed this big move on Friday, it was just a day in the life. Take a breath. It's not a big deal. So, you have this week left. We have NVIDIA on Wednesday. You have the whole fall coming up. The fourth quarter is usually my best quarter in the market. So if you want to have exposure to Red Dog, the fourth quarter is when, I'm at my desk the most. Things are on the move. You have, the move into Thanksgiving, and then you have the Christmas rally and this and that. So if you're not where you want to be, you have to make some changes to have change, right? But anyway, this Oxy looks pretty good. Yes, if you subscribe through Twitter, you will always have access to the 630 Club. But anyway, all right. So some guys they got rich playing Open this week. All right, Open had a really big move. There's definitely been some trades here, and this is a little bit meme-ish, but whatever. A stock is a stock, and technicals are technicals. And right now, you had a really big move here. Okay, so if you caught it on Friday, congratulations. If you're still in it, maybe it needs to digest. What's it doing this morning? Do you have any? It's down 28 cents. Not a big deal. The moves on Friday were so big that there might be some digestion. So, don't over analyze it because it's not having follow through. Red Dog, there's no follow through to Friday. SPYs are up $10. Stocks had big moves. Sometimes there's a little follow through, and sometimes it needs to digest. Crypto, yeah, this is a little concerning. Okay, it's not so concerning, but I'm actually in some IBIT, so this is a little bit annoying to me. You look at Bitcoin right here, and sometimes Bitcoin is a leading indicator. Sometimes it's just not. But all in all, Bitcoin did at least it's still trading technically like it did a Red Dog reversal here. If you remember that false breakout, that was one signal to reduce a little bit, and then it looked like it was going to hold, and now look where it is. So, this Bitcoin is acting different, and historically, Bitcoin does not have a good September. So, maybe we'll see. This is Bitcoin though. It doesn't look great. It's below all the moving averages. I'm gonna give it to here and then just kick it out. Ethereum's been much better, so we'll see. Does Ethereum hold half of Friday, or does it give it back also? So ETHE, that's a big move. I'm actually in Ethereum, and the last thing I want to do is if it gives back the majority of this candle, that would kind of be annoying. It's already annoying already. So the right place, right time. You could be in crypto right now, and there was a reason. Like there was no reason not to be in Ethereum on that move, and now it's down 6%, 37.48. Where's that? This is 38. So it's already. That's a little it's a little annoying. But anyway, if I'm sure Solana's down if that's down. But anyway, we're gonna make the right decision at the right time. And right now, so far, IBIT is below this candle. Like if you're in IBIT, you really did nothing wrong. All right, I'm in it and I'm down money. But if it were to get below and stay below the 63-ish, where is it this morning? Yeah, that would not be good. That would be very trappy. And if all of a sudden things start getting very trappy and predatory and not trading well, you could pull yourself back, at least from the things that are doing that, ONDS had a big time move. And it still looks really good. I've charted this for everyone. I know my old school buddy Jake has been on top of this since $1, and a lot of guys have made a ton of money. If that's you, great. I've been more on this UMAC, and it hasn't been as good, but it is what it is. I think this one has some room also. This chart's just getting better. A lot of guys were selling a lot of puts, making money, but we'll see. Uber looks pretty good. I haven't traded Uber in a while. Looks like it's ready to go. It's right at highs. I'm not in Uber, but if you're in Uber, why not? Congratulations. It's really, really strong. What's it called? Nvidia has been not leading. It's been kind of lagging. This gave me some when I was on vacation. This candle gave me some reason to be out of risk, and it was nice because I got out of a lot of stuff before I left, and then Monday, Tuesday I got out, so I didn't have to deal with the craziness of Wednesday, of Thursday of last week, and then I was in the right frame of mind to position into some things for Friday to make me good money. But anyway, this has earnings on Wednesday. It's up a little bit, right, this morning, I feel like. What's NVIDIA doing? It's down a little, actually, now. It's really just in this, channel now. Better off not being at all-time highs when it does earnings, because then it's, price for perfection. So if you've been in this for a decade, congratulations. You're making a ton of money. If you are looking for a trade through earnings, let's see where we are on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not buying any options. Yeah, QS was bad. QS, looked like a lot of guys on the Alpha team were all talking about, some big OEM contract, and it was looking pretty good. And I got stopped out of the name itself, but I'm still in some calls. It happens. You have a big move, and like it did, went to 15, broke right here, so we got out of 12. Like, hey, I can get in right here. And so far, it's just, it's not acting so special. If it's not special, you don't need to be in it, to be honest. You only have so much real estate and so much buying power and so much everything, so you don't want to be where the action's not. Like this morning, look at, finally Baba gave you another nice move. But it takes it, definitely likes to frustrate as many people. I know we caught this one really, really well, and now all of a sudden you had a strong move on Friday. So if you took this instead of some of the other strong candles you're getting paid this morning, there's a gap to fill to this 132-ish area. Where's Baba? Baba is right there. So I would not be shorting Baba. And if you are long it, you trim a little bit and gets above this 128, and then you have a nice gap fill to 132. So that's looking pretty good. Tiger, some of you guys stayed with that one. We started. Remember when I drew this little wedge pattern here? It took its time. It showed some relative strength to Baba, and had a nice move. Where's the next spot it can get to? It can get to probably 14-ish. I would be trimming some into this move. Nice candle, nice move. Crowd with the lower RSI coming up on earnings. Yeah, well, Crowd has definitely been beaten up. It's I have not traded CrowdStrike. This is probably a better setup going into numbers. It's got a declining, descending channel here, descending wedge pattern. It's been battered. It's been bruised. So sometimes down into this area is better for an earnings play. So I would say Ramsey. I like it. Good morning, Mario. How are you? Hopefully you're feeling well. What do you guys? All the Cisco guys are probably in Vegas having a nice week get together. Let's see. So that ASTS, held 42.44, little double bottom. So if you bought off there, congratulations. It has some room, has some work to do. This broke this, it started trading a little different, was getting rejected into the 54 area, but now it looks a little bit better. So I think there's, good stuff there. MSOS, I sent you guys that article in July. In July, when MSOS was 260, and then I sold them at 520, and we had options up 10x. Now, MSOS, shouldn't be a focus, but it's hanging. I would think, we get into the fall and get some real legislation, where they do the safe banking bill, it gets above this 540 and fills that gap. NBIS is still my favorite into year end. Okay, MLD, I like that. NBIS, we had a great option play. This really helped me a lot, actually. I remember I was, a little bit off my highs, wasn't having a great earnings season as far as taking names, and all of a sudden, boom, gave you a nice pro earnings gap. I made like 4x on my earnings, and it looks good. This looks good. MLD right now, you can be long this thing versus 62. So you buy it and hold it and have a swing, and maybe it works its way back towards highs, 62-ish. It's nice. A lot of guys have been trading this. This was a nice sequence. Then it went sideways. Look how tight it got. Looks like I like it, MLD. You just have to give it some room, and you can't get too big. But definitely something for the fourth quarter. I would agree. Where can Tem go? Tem had a nice move also. Finally, this is a newer name and got above the 8. They got above this. 91.45 is your next spot. Nice little trend here, held in while the market got beat up. That looks good too. So what you want to do is you want to buy stocks that hold in well when the market gets beat up. So when the market goes again, that's where your leadership comes from. That's how you rotate your stocks. That's how something goes from the C list on your go-to list to an A play. And so this way you know what to focus on and where when things are moving. DraftKings, looks pretty good. You have football coming up. You have all the degenerates coming back out. No, I'm kidding. You have fantasy football. You have betting. You have this. You have that. Yeah, this looks good. This looks like it could work its way back to 53.61. It's above the moving averages. I like that. Microsoft's kind of a pain in the butt, but at least Microsoft kind of gave us a reason to take some risk down, right? On earnings, it hit 555 and was sold down, and then got very choppy and broke its ascending channel. But now I would think if you want to be long Microsoft, at least you have an area to be long against Blair. You could be long versus 502 and see how it works its way back up. What's Microsoft doing today? Microsoft is down $1.10. Oh, by the way, you want to hear a little Billy Joel? She can ruin your faith with her casual lies. By the way, Billy Joel special is awesome. I grew up in South Long Island. He was in Hicksville. It's great watching his life. Think about it. Think about the trials and tribulations of Billy Joel. You think things happen easy. You think people are overnight successes. You could have 1,000 nights of being an overnight success before you're an overnight success. Same thing with trading. You have your process. You grind it out. You make money every month, every quarter. Then all of a sudden, boom, you have a huge one or a huge year, and that steps you forward. And then you cost average your career. But anyway, Microsoft, you have 502 to trade against. And once again, I'll leave you with Tesla, and then it's 651. I got to go. I like it. Let's just hope it starts trading better, because Tesla sometimes could be a tease. Last time I had Tesla was right here. It was a nice move, failed at 349, and now nice candle. I think I'm gonna probably buy a little bit this morning. Hopefully it goes red to green, takes out 340 and a quarter, gets a push. Then I'm back to what I had, and then we'll see how it goes. All in all, again, it's a new week. Let's stack some days, stay positive. If you did your 20 to 520 with me this morning, feeling good, getting back on track. If you had a little bit too much fun this summer, too much drinking and too much food, and you want to get back intact, I'm going to put myself on a really nice routine in September. I'm going to start fasting on Mondays again. I'm going to start really cutting down some things to get myself and my mind right for the fall. So when the fourth quarter comes, we could just stack some days, end this year on the right note. It's been a great year for many. And if you haven't been having a good year and you've been fighting things short, or you're not making the right decisions, you're not thinking clearly, and you're not a member of Red Dog Mindset besides being on the Alpha team and everything else, then make some changes. How was the Gaga concert? Gaga was great. I went with my wife, and it was fun. We had some decent seats, and she's really super talented. And it's her too. You sit and think about her career. It's like you got to work on yourself. You got to work on your process and routine. No one's handing things out. Even if you're born with money and you're born with, privilege, doesn't mean you're happy. It doesn't mean, you have self-esteem. The way you have self-esteem is by doing hard things. The way you build confidence is by keeping promises to yourself. So write those things down, and maybe your decision-making process will happen faster when things are on the move. I know a lot of guys came in pretty flat-footed on Friday and made a ton of money because they were ready to go. They weren't, I sold this on Monday, Tuesday. No, they were ready to go. How are you ready to go? How do you develop your go time? It's up to you. Anyway, we'll see what Tesla does this week. It'd be nice if it holds in there. If it doesn't, it is what it is. I'd watch to see what happens with, Bitcoin and Ethereum, if they're going to be a leading indicator or not. Palantir, it gave you a broken move. This at this point was very extended. Broke the 8-day. Most guys got out when it got. If you were playing this for a bull flag breakout first, using your sell rules, you sell some strength that doesn't hold in the area and then starts to break below it. You get out of the way, and now, it's just bounced off of here. It has to rebuild. Some of these names, need to rebuild and aren't. They might not be the place to be for the next few weeks. So just maybe read that book, Who Moved My Cheese. It might help you. Anyway, with that being said, what does Nelvis say going lower today? What's going lower today, Nelvis? The entire market, or a name, or a stock, or a sector? That's a little too general. Palantir, which one? You've been very good at things that you trade well, you move your feet just like everybody else does. So that's good. But bottom line is, we'll see what happens here. The SPYs, I would think if we're going to have a nice sequence to the upside this week, where it's not that choppy and not loose and wide, this 642.50 holds here. If this doesn't hold, then we'll have to figure it out. All of it, the entire market's going lower, Nelvis. All right. Anyway, that's it's kind of like it's not going to end well. This isn't going to end well. It's not a trading strategy, but we'll see. No, Dash hasn't been dashing. Dash gave you signals though. Dash was an unbelievable trend. Hit a high of 278. Was sold down after earnings. If you're sold down after earnings, that means a lot is priced in. Then really, right here, it looked like it was going to be the dashing of old, and then this candle got me out of it. This candle said, hey, it's no longer above the 8-day. This was the candle that said, hey, you got to be more tactical here versus just sitting it. And now it's just kind of rebuilding. And I don't think 278 is going to be the high of the next 6 months, but we'll see. You have to be a little bit more careful there. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. At 6:55, I've already done this for 25 minutes. Once again, this is the 6:30 Club. My name is Scott Redler. I'm about to do 20 charts for the Alpha team for Redler All Access. I spend the day with them. If you enjoy the 6:30 Club and you've been making money for the last 5 years, and you want to spend more time, I'll tell you right now, Alpha team is where it's at. And if you felt like you were naked because with no 6:30 Club, you better subscribe above, because things are going to be changing in the months ahead, and I wouldn't want to lose you. It's been such a great run. I've been doing this for 30 years. See you guys in a little bit. Bye, guys.